What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and we've got our Week 6 power rankings for the SEC. This would be heading into Week 6 of the college football season. And we're going to go with a little bit of a different format this week. I'm going to kind of break the teams down into tiers. It's just a little bit different format. And we'll have the rest of the power rankings tomorrow. This is the only one we'll have up today. So here are the first three teams. This is the top tier in the SEC. Alabama, Georgia, and Auburn. And you could probably put Alabama in their own tier if you wanted to. But these are the three teams that really are looking good right now. Even though Auburn has that loss to Clemson, I still feel like they are up there, the same level as Georgia, maybe not Alabama. Alabama, the clear number one team. I don't think you can make any real argument for anyone else in the SEC. Georgia is looking really good. They dominate this week against Tennessee. They had a dominant win against Mississippi State, but Auburn had a dominant win against Mississippi State as well. I think those Georgia-Auburn wins versus Mississippi State were pretty much the same. So I really feel like Georgia and Auburn are about the same level right now. We're going to give Georgia the slight nod just because they're undefeated. They beat Notre Dame. Auburn lost to Clemson. Not that those two teams are the same, but these are the three teams, and really the only three really good teams in the SEC this year, unfortunately. So we'll go on now to the next tier, and these are the teams that really, they have some time to get it together and potentially be really good football teams, and that is number 4, Florida, number 5, Texas A&M. We were really down on these two teams not long ago, but they're starting to come around. Florida continues to squeak by. They looked pretty good against Vanderbilt. Texas A&M, if you take out the second half of that UCLA game, Texas A&M's undefeated, and you're probably putting them up there at number 4. But they did struggle against some weaker teams as well. So if they can somehow pull off an upset against Alabama, look out for the Aggies. I don't think it's going to happen, but you never know. And Florida, if they can somehow beat Georgia in a few weeks, then maybe they're a contender in the East. So those two teams right there at 4 and 5. The next tier, Arkansas and Kentucky. And again, our power rankings, they do look at the whole season, but it's an emphasis on the last week, the week that just happened, unlike the top 25 poll, which is really all about the whole season. So Arkansas gets an impressive win over New Mexico State, who's not a bad team. They did give up, I think, 24 points, so that's not good. And Kentucky beat a pretty good Eastern Michigan team. Again, not a great team, but they're a solid team, so they're coming off wins. When you look at this next tier of teams that I think all lost this week, it was a pretty rough week for a lot of teams in the SEC this week. So let's go to that next tier, and we've got 8 through 12 all right here grouped up together. Mississippi State heads the pack due to their win over LSU. LSU at number 9. Troy's a good team, so don't read too much into that loss, but they're definitely not. They're not looking like a serious contender, that's for sure. South Carolina, a couple of close losses for them against Kentucky and now against Texas A&M. But they've competed in those games. Vanderbilt, meanwhile, blown out by Alabama, and then they really didn't look like they were all that close to being on the same level as Florida. I know that game wasn't a blowout, but Florida looked like the better team, even though it was pretty close. And Tennessee, what do you have to say about this team right now? They get absolutely destroyed by Georgia. It was worse than the Georgia-Mississippi State game. So really all 5 of these teams, again, when I put these teams in tiers, you could really rank them in any order, except for that top tier. You got to go with Alabama number 1. But you could move these teams around. You could make an argument for South Carolina being the top team because both of their losses were really close. You can make an argument for Vanderbilt because one of their losses was to Alabama, and nobody's beating them right now. And you can say, well, Mississippi State's been blown out 2 weeks in a row. They shouldn't be number 8. So yeah, I can see cases, for all these teams. But my personal opinion, this is how I feel like the teams should be ranked right now. And again, very close with all these teams. I think they're all pretty even. At this point in the season, we'll start seeing some separation, and probably this tier right here will be, I would say, broken up into maybe 2 different tiers, maybe join with Kentucky and Arkansas. Okay, and now the bottom 2 teams. Ole Miss and Missouri both are just terrible teams. Ole Miss can't play any defense at all. Shea Patterson is good, but he hasn't even looked all that great. Same thing with Missouri and Drew Lock. They didn't play this week. Their defense is probably even worse. I don't think these two teams play this year, but that'd be a fun matchup to see who is the worst team in the SEC. But yeah, sorry, these two teams just not good at all right now. So that's going to do it for this week's Power Rankings. Go ahead and leave a comment below with what you agree or disagree with, and we'll have all of our other Power Rankings up tomorrow. So So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more here on the SG1 Sports YouTube channel.